Special Edition.
Hello and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now. This is the Newshour Special Edition this Saturday evening, and I'm Heena Gambhir. Viewers, a tragedy has hit devotees who had gathered to celebrate auspicious ekadashi in Andhra Pradesh. Officially, 9 people are said to have died in the stampede at a temple in Andhra Pradesh's Srikakulam district. The incident that turned faith into frenzy occurred at around 11:30 a.m. this morning. Around 15,000 people had gathered for Ekadashi Darshan. It's a repeat of virtually most stampedes in the past. As per preliminary report, a large crowd of devotees surged forward when the Venkateswara Swamy Temple in Kasibugga opened, causing panic at the entrance route. A railing collapsed due to pressure from the surging crowd. The crowd's movement spiraled into chaos. While some devotees fell, others kept rushing forward and a stampede ensued. There are still several people receiving medical attention in a hospital. At least 3 of them are said to be in a serious condition. Now, viewers, like the Bengaluru stampede after an IPL win celebrations, the main culprit is said to be glaring lapses on part of the temple management. Sources say that Sri Venkateswara Swamy Temple is privately run. It is not registered with the state's endowment department. No prior approval was taken by the temple management for this kind of a gathering. The police was not informed about a call to the devotees to gather by the temple. The area where devotees gathered still had construction work going on. What eventually led to ruckus was single entry and exit point. Now, viewers, the preliminary investigation has revealed that the temple started operating just 4 months ago. That's why parts of it are still under construction. A case has been registered against temple management and Mukund Panda, a local resident who was building the temple dedicated to Lord Venkateshwara. Police have confirmed that Mukund Panda has been taken into custody as he failed to inform the cops about the gathering. Prime Minister Modi condoled the death and announced a compensation of 2 lakh rupees for the families of each deceased and 50,000 for those injured. Top state ministers as well as Union Minister Ram Mohan Naidu, who is an MP from Srikakulam, have been rushed to the incident site.
There are total 9 people have lost their lives, 8 female and 1 boy. So the incident was due to there was a queue line where entry and exit was same queue line was used, and that iron grill which was there, it got collapsed, and the height of that steps was around 7 feet. So the public fell from 7 feet to the ground. So because of that, this incident has happened. It's a private temple where a private person has constructed in his private land, and he hasn't taken any permissions also, and he hasn't informed about today's program to the local police also.
కానీ ఈ రోజు మీరు చూస్తే కాశీబుగ్గ టౌన్లో ఒక ప్రైవేటు వ్యక్తి వెంకటేశ్వర దేవాలయాన్ని కట్టాడు. అక్కడి నుంచి కార్తీక మాసం ఈరోజు చాలామంది అక్కడ దర్శనానికి వెళ్ళిపోయారు. కనీసం ఆయన చేసినప్పుడు పోలీసుకు కూడా చెప్పలేదు. చెప్పుంటే పోలీస్ ప్రొటెక్షన్ పెట్టి ఎక్కడికక్కడ కంట్రోల్ చేసేవారం.
And viewers, we explore tonight why the organizers and the administrations of such events that attract gatherings always fail the fans as well as devotees. To discuss it, I'm joined on the broadcast by Professor Jyotsna, who is national spokesperson of the TDP, Anurag Naidu, who is a political analyst, Dr. Vikram Singh, former DGP Uttar Pradesh, is live with us, Bharat Ram, national spokesperson and former MP Lok Sabha YSRCP, also live with us, Dr. Akash Muni, who is a political analyst, also is going to be joining us in just a few moments from now. Dr. Vikram Singh, I want to begin this discussion with you. You know, I have this one question. Why do organizers and the administrations of events that attract gatherings always fail the fans as well as devotees?
Good evening. In your opening remarks, you have spelled out step by step that every part of the statute book was broken and violated, and then you had a calamity in waiting. This was a totally avoidable tragedy, a single entry and exit route. Also, the police not being informed. Well, the police I would also fault, and I would have been very happy if the police suo moto had taken cognizance and made the various arrangements that are necessary, in spite of the fact that they were not informed. The temple, I do hope that they took the permission to construct a temple, and if not, they again would be liable for this tragedy. I hold primarily the temple authorities responsible for this avoidable tragedy. They did not do a thing. They did not inform the police. Perhaps the only objective of this gathering was to make money and as much as is possible to make hay while the sun was shining and to exploit the festival of Devothani Ekadashi, which is today. But to trust and take the pilgrims and take the trusting and those devotees for a ride, this is just not acceptable. And in a state where policing has been taken to a different level, where the country's police forces learn from them the technology and everything. But what can the police do if they're not informed? But yes, I did expect that even if there's a gathering without their knowledge, they should have had perhaps a proactive approach to make certain arrangements. And I would say, okay.
That's an important point you have made. Even though they were not informed about this kind of a gathering, they should have taken some proactive approach because, Professor Jyotsna, we're not talking about 100, 200 people here. We're talking about 15,000 people, and that's not a small number. All this is happening less than 3 kilometers away from the police station.
Hello.
Yes, Professor Jyotsna, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I missed your question now. I missed your question, sir.
Ma'am, I was trying to understand from you, why could the cops not take, cognizance of what was really happening barely 3 kilometers away from the police station? I mean, we're not talking about 100, 200 people here. We're talking about 15,000 odd people who had gathered in a temple that was built on a private land. I understand no prior permission was taken. We'll come to those issues later. But the question is, if there is an unlawful gathering that's happening without any permission, who should be held accountable?
Definitely, first and foremost thing, it's very, very unfortunate whatever has happened today, because it's not like, as one of the speakers said, it could have been avoided. There is no doubt about it. It's definitely on a private space and private land. The private management did it. But yes, they could have informed the police about it. They could have at least, did arrangements by themselves if they did not want to inform the police or the endowments department. But again, police could have also acted faster. Yes, definitely, I also agree with that, because we have an RTGS system where probably we could have at least, if the earlier government would have installed proper CC cameras, and we are trying to do that now, if properly things were done, probably we could have avoided. See, it's not nonsense, Mr. Bharat. It was what one of your party person has spoken another debate. Let me complete. What is nonsense? I'll tell you. Now, what happened was, definitely the arrangements were not made proper. There is no doubt about it. I'm not here to make an excuse, but yes, police would have been informed. If police would have been informed, we would have acted faster. But yes, police could also proactively act. That is what we are also inquiring, because it's a village sort of a thing. So definitely, when around 15 to 20,000 people are coming into a particular place, then probably police should have known of it. We are also inquiring into it, because there is a committee that has been formed and preliminary inquiry is going on into it. But the worst part is, I'll tell you what, an event has occurred. We have to all respond empathetically, and we also have to, talk about what can be done further to avoid such kind of things. What has happened earlier in Tirupati or earlier in Simhachalam, we have come up with various, very, very stringent steps, wherein, recently when we had the Dasara Utsavalu in Vijayawada or the other Utsavalu in other temples also, absolute SOPs were followed, and absolute, not a minute incident anywhere. We could make sure of it. After the incidents in Simhachalam and after the incident in Tirupati has happened. Now, with this also, definitely, even we are coming up with an idea wherein an SOP, proper SOP, even for privately owned and privately managed temples, though they are built in private lands or things like that.
Okay.
See,
okay. So you're saying that you are now coming up with an SOP because it was a temple built on a private land. It did not come under the endowments department as well. Mr. Bharat Ram, how will you like to respond?
See, one thing is very, very tragic. Especially the government should held responsible for this, and this pure, sheer negligence of this government. And this is not for the first time happened. It was the series of incidents been happening since past 1 year. So we could witness the incident happened in Tirupati on Vaikunta Ekadashi. 6 people were killed. This is all man-made murders, rather I call them. And also it was happened in Simhachalam, where they happened to construct a compound wall just before the auspicious day, and it was collapsed on the devotees. And that was the mistake. That was the horrific mistake. And this is the 3rd incident. So I'm asking a straight question. The Home Department is complete failure. When the small village do have a population of about 50 to 60,000, when there were about 20,000 devotees are gathering in that private temple, is this not the responsibility of this police department? Where is the intelligence is working? I still don't understand. So is this the government is not entitled to be in the power? Because the series of incidents been happening. And also, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu proclaims himself as the protector of the Hindu Dharma. So what had happened, all these incidents been happening since past 1 year. And I would like to mention one more incident happened when he was the chief minister in 2015. In my constituency, in Godavari Pushkaralu, 29 people were killed just because of the obsession of Mr. Chandrababu Naidu's publicity. Is nothing but. And I wanted to quote a small incident. It's not a small incident. It's not a small incident. It's a very big incident happened in Vijayawada Pushkaralu, at Krishna Pushkaralu. By that time, 40 temples were vandalized by this so-called government. And you know what? The idols of these temples were taken in a garbage trucks. And that was a huge outrage.
But how is that related to what we are discussing today? We're talking about a stampede here, and 9 people have lost their lives. I mean, it's quite heartbreaking and tragic, and I would really, want the focus to remain on that. What happened in 2015, I'm not really bothered about it. I'm bothered about what has happened today, because this year itself, Mr. Anurag Naidu, we've seen several instances of stampedes, one after the other. And as Mr. Bharat Ram was correctly mentioning, for Andhra Pradesh, this is 3rd such incident in a year.
Oh, Heena, thank you for having me on the show. I think my heart goes out to people who lost their lives coming from Andhra, knowing the system quite well. I think it's more than the government, Heena. What I believe is Andhra is overwhelmingly religious, and we know about it. Whether it is Tirupati, Tirumala Devasthanam, whether it is Jyotsna ji mentioned about Kanakadurgama Temple. Recently, we had Dashara celebration, 15 lakh devotees, not a single casualty. Not that I'm taking side of any government or an NDA government, but I must tell that Andhra Pradesh, whosoever the government may be, starting from NTR, when the reforms and the transformations took place in TTD, I think the governments have done. Andhra Pradesh has been the gold standard and epitome of, temple and endowment management. Yes, the state is overwhelmingly religious. We have lot of Jatralu, we have lot of celebration during Sankranti, where not even 15,000, 50, 60,000 congregation of people also have been witnessed. And we've seen that incidents. So you have to understand, suo moto, it is easier said than done. You cannot see, these are the incidents that take place at the spur of a moment. Now, what we have to understand is, yes, the system needs to improve. How do we improve the system? Is by giving a guideline. The municipality should not give permission until who passed out the plan. I mean, that needs to be investigated. When the construction is made, who gave approval for the civil plan? And what was this temple made for? So you have to go, and also people also needs to be educated. When you have a state which is overwhelmingly religious, you also need to educate the people where to go, where not to go. And educating the people. Whose
job is it, Anurag Naidu? Whose job is it really to do that, to ensure that people do not lose their lives like this? It's very convenient for everybody here on the panel to give a clean chit to whoever you are supporting or representing. But today I'm talking about the families of 9 people who've lost their lives. That also included a 13-year-old child.
Exactly. And that's the reason, Heena, that's why I'm saying that there are things that we need to improve. There are things that government has to improve. I'm not denying that. And you see that, Heena, within hours, whether it is Ram Mohan Naidu, the Civil Aviation Minister,
Mr. Bharatram, 1 second, allow Mr. Naidu to finish his point. I'll come back to you.
Hina, you have to acknowledge the fact that within hours, the entire state machinery, the ministers were on the ground. The CM was monitoring. The statement from the CM was immediate. And I don't see any reason for a political slugfest here.
Okay.
But more than the fact that I see the party should come together and give a clarion call and put out, instead of setting out aside the politics, just roll out a good communication plan.
Okay, stay with us. Let me go across to Bharatram as well, who wanted to make a quick point, and then Dr. Akashdeep Muni.
Here, one thing that gentleman is taking sides of the ruling party. Here, one point I would like to clear. This is not for the first time. There were almost 9 people were killed in this particular incident, and the series of these mishaps have been happening across the Andhra Pradesh.
That's exactly what I mentioned, Mr. Bharatram, if you heard me.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Dr. Akashdeep Muni.
Now, let me complete this.
Very quickly,
here,
sir, please finish the point that you're making. Yes.
Here, the Home Department and Endowments Department have failed miserably.
Okay.
And also this ruling party, the BJP.
So you're holding essentially the government, they're responsible. Professor Jyotsna wants to respond, but before that, let me take the opening comments from Dr. Akashdeep Muni as well. Dr. Akashdeep Muni, what do you like to say? Because the government is of the view, that it was a temple built on a private land. It was a private person, whose temple had so many people who came for this particular celebration for prayers during Ekadashi this morning, and no prior permission was taken by this private individual, who, by the way, has already been taken into custody by the cops.
Heena ji, the last thing the government should do is passing the buck, but they are doing so, unfortunately. Now, let me put things onto the context. On 8 January 2025, 6 devotees died and approximately 29 to 40 were injured at Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam. Then on 30th April 2025, all under the TDP government, a wall collapse claimed 8 lives at Shimalshalam Temple in Andhra Pradesh. And now 9 lives lost at Sri Venkateswara Swamy Temple. How many more lives will wake up the sleeping government? Dear Mr. Naidu and their partner BJP, take legislative and administrative reforms, mandate safety audits, make liability clauses for trustees and executive officers if negligence causes deaths. They're not doing it. Create a state religious event safety authority. Ensure crowd management, safety infrastructure through QRB.
You spoke about stampede since January. Dr. Akashdeep Muni, there was a stampede recently that happened in Karur as well. We had a similar debate at that time. There was a stampede that happened in Bengaluru as well after RCB's victory celebration. We had a similar debate at that time as well. And that's the reason why we are having this debate again today. How many more lives will we lose before we actually fix things, and who will be eventually held responsible for stampedes the way they happen at mass gatherings? Professor Jyotsna, how will you like to respond?
See, definitely, as you said, there should be some accountability. There should be some, whenever things like, first thing is they shouldn't happen, Hina. I'm with you on that when you say they should not happen. At any cost, they should not happen, and at any cost, not a single life should be lost. But we also have to talk about the response when things like this happen, because now what I'm saying is I am here taking the responsibility, and I am here saying that we are trying to build SOPs. We are not, like other governments or like other parties, we are saying, no, we are just passing the buck. No, absolutely not. An inquiry committee has been set up. Immediately, all our ministers are on ground. The MLA of that particular place, wait a second, let me complete, is on the ground, taking stock of the situation, and we will make sure things don't repeat again. The responsibility is something all of us have to take, and as you rightly said, such accountability also matters, and such things should not happen. Now, the worst part in all this is people trying to politicize this particular accident and incident. That's the worst part. 1 second, Mr. Bharat. I think you need to understand that you have to allow others to talk.
Right. Professor Jyotsna, I'm just interrupting you there. We have a reaction coming in from Minister Nara Lokesh as well. Let's listen in.
Here are first timers. So out of the 16 people who are here, one person stated that this was her second time. that she came for darshan. So no one knew, no one imagined this much crowd will come. And it's not from one village. I checked with everyone. It is like 5 people, 10 people, 15 people coming from each village. So even for police to understand, it's not coming from one village. It's a slow congregation that resulted in a large group. It was a very unplanned congregation. It resulted in a large group. And they all wanted to go and take Lord Balaji's darshan. But it's a very unfortunate incident. As part of SOPs, we will now devise, it's not only for temples under endowment, but temples under private management also. How do we better monitor? How do we ensure the quality of the construction? Because, with under the influence of, with the influence of positive influence of social media, and also the free bus scheme we've given, women are spending more time going and visiting a lot of temples. Recently, in Vijayawada, Durgamma Gudi temple also, in the past, maximum pilgrims are only 12 lakhs. But first time, close to 16 to 18 lakhs came. We managed it very efficiently, very well, without any untoward incident. Food, water, everything was well managed because we figured out that so many people will come. We had information, indications. Here we had nothing. So, but we will keep firm SOPs, and we will ensure that such an incident does not happen again.
Sir, sorry to say this is the second incident in your government happening in the temples.
All right, so that was the first reaction of Andhra Minister Nara Lokesh on what happened. He is at the site right now along with Union Minister Ram Mohan Naidu, who's also a member of parliament from this particular district where this stampede, where this tragedy took place. Bharat Ram wants to respond. Yes.
Here, Mr. Lokesh mentioned, okay, I agree with him, but this is a new temple. Do they have intelligence or not? Whether a small village is happen to have a congregation of about 15 to 20,000 people, where is this home department, police department working? And the law and order is working with Mr. Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu. Here, therefore, I urge the BJP, the alliance partners, to take the cognizance of this issue. And this is not for the first time. It's been the series of things, mishaps been happening. In fact, they have no right entitled to continue in the power. The BJP should have to sack Mr. Chandrababu Naidu as the chief minister if they are there in the alliance. Because it is.
I will get Professor Jyotsna as well as Anurag Naidu to respond to the points that you are making. But before that, did you ask, the alliance partner of DMK to sack, or to step down? Did they ask Mr. M.K. Stalin to step down when Karur stampede took place? Did you ask, Karnataka Chief Minister to step down when the stampede took place in Bengaluru?
And this is my state. My state is more concerned for me because we are there in the principal opposition in Andhra Pradesh. It is more concern for us. And this is not for the first time.
Okay.
And
so you're concerned about your states because that's the only thing that matters to you. If your alliance partners are in a similar situation in other state, then you will not raise questions because politically it does not suit you. Professor Jyotsna, then Anurag Naidu. Please respond now.
I rest my case by saying only one thing, Heena. This incident is very, very unfortunate, and I urge especially the YSRCP leaders, especially their, chief, their supremos, Mr. Jagannath Reddy, to stop politicizing everything. Everything.
Anurag.
First start empathizing.
Anurag Naidu, then Dr. Vikram Singh.
Heena, from a larger optics, we need to understand, is it the time to politicize? What are you gaining by politicizing? And okay, Akashdeep mentioned some points. He's talking about QR code. Boss, you don't even know the Quantum Valley. The entire city is being created in Amravati. You are telling Mr. Naidu about QR code. Now, let me tell you one more thing. If you have to target the government, just 2 weeks back, there was a cyclone alert, right? Mr. Naidu is in the real-time government. The entire family, he doesn't even know where his wife and kids are. He's in the CM's office. All the ministers, MPs and MLAs are on the ground. All the head of the departments and secretaries were sent in every district to monitor. And it was 24/7 monitored, not a single casualty. Forget about casualty, not a single injury. Now you tell me, for a government which is setting gold standard, and this is not me who's saying, this is the Prime Minister of India, this is the global leaders, this is every union minister of India saying that this is an epitome of real-time governments. This is the epitome of technology, visibility of the vision. And if you want to really give some suggestions, give some practical suggestions which can be worked out.
Okay.
Now, do we politicize? What do we get by politicizing? It's for us to answer.
Okay. Now, Dr. Vikram Singh, do you think this is the reason, the politics that starts soon after a tragedy of this kind, that we really forget how to actually tackle the situation so that it never repeats? Because, we did hear about SOPs after Bengaluru Stampede also. We did hear about SOPs after Karur tragedy also. But again, we are talking about a stampede. Is it because politics takes center stage and the real issue is forgotten?
So true, Heena. I have the words of profound wisdom from Professor Jyotsna ji that this is just not the time for acrimonious exchange. There are important lessons to be drawn. But we fail to draw lessons from any tragedy in spite of paying such a heavy price. There is an internal security scheme. And Mr. Bharat had a very valid point to make. The police cannot allow grass to grow underneath their feet. It is their job to have intelligence in position and be aware of all the possibilities and permutations and combinations. How could they possibly fail? With so much of technology, drone technology, intelligence work, and intelligence coming from open channels, the social media, the police cannot be oblivious and cannot wash their hands. There is an internal security scheme that is rehearsed only for the purpose that we learn from these tragedies, improve upon our skills, and the police have just no excuse that the permission was not taken. The police could have been well within the rights to ban the procession, regulate the procession, manage the procession, stagger the processions and the pilgrims under the provisions of 163 Bharati Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita, the former Criminal Procedure Code, the well-known section of 144. But nothing like that happened. And again, I would say that those in authority need to put it in the rule book, and we cannot afford to have such tragedies at such nauseating intervals. There is so much that we can learn and add to our knowledge base so that these tragedies are never repeated or replicated ever.
Now, the person on whose land this temple was constructed, where this tragedy struck, has been taken into custody, is what we know, Dr. Vikram Singh. Do you think action should be taken against the police officials who were also around this area, of this particular area?
Obviously, the primary responsibility is that of the private person who owned the temple for being oblivious to his moral, social, and legal responsibilities. The police cannot be sitting spectators that if they were not given any application, they are supposed to act on an autopilot mode. Autopilot would mean that you are cognizant of what is happening around me, and you are not like Alice in Wonderland that you were told about a calamity that is happening. No, it doesn't happen that way. Policing is always on an autopilot mode. Therefore, suspension of the SO is imperative, and also a ministerial inquiry to fix the responsibility of the administrative officers.
Professor Jyotsna, will you take action against the cops who were responsible as well? Because if there is an unlawful gathering, I agree with you and the justification that has come that no prior permission was taken. Fine. It was not under the endowments department. Fine. So you don't have a responsibility. But if there is an unlawful gathering that's taking place of thousands of people, shouldn't the cops be aware of what's happening? And if they did not do anything, shouldn't there be action against them?
Absolutely, Heena. That's what I said earlier also. We are responsible and we are trying to find out who is accountable for this particular tragedy. We are not going to be, sitting quiet and saying that this is not in our endowment, so we are going to sit quiet. No, absolutely not. And point by Mr. Vikram Singh is absolutely taken. And definitely whoever is responsible, even from the police authorities, see, as I rightly said, if there was supposed to be, the knowledge they should have had the knowledge of how many people were coming in, where were they going, because it seems there was security outside as well. So we need to check. That's the reason an inquiry committee is put up, and definitely all the, people who are accountable for this will be punished. Heena, there is no doubt about it. Whether they are police officials, whether they are anybody on earth, if they are the reason for this, they'll be punished.
Okay, Dr. Akashdeep Muni. Dr. Akashdeep Muni, assurances they're coming in from TDP, the ruling party, that all people who are responsible, action will be taken against them. And we also know that how the person, on whose land this temple was built, the main temple management, the main accused, he has already been taken into custody.
Heena ji, simple thing. Tamil Nadu has temple festival safety guidelines and SOP since 2018. This government was in power since last 1 year. Why did not put SOP for temple safety guidelines? Why they are doing it now? Why they were sleeping? This crocodile tears won't work. You have to act. You have to work hard. After that, you cannot say it was unfortunate. Because of your incompetency, this thing happened. Acknowledge it on TV. Otherwise, answer that why the
Okay,
SOP was
Professor
not done.
Jyotsna wants to respond to what you've said.
See, Heena, I'm not here to politicize as these people are trying to do it. As I said, I haven't spoken anything on the government about Karur issue, or I haven't spoken anything on the government about Bangalore issue, because there are lives lost. I'm talking about my brothers and sisters who have lost their lives, and I'm empathetic towards it. And definitely, if he says today, the SOPs abse pehle kyun nahi bane the? Sir, you probably might not know what's happening in Andhra Pradesh. You probably are unaware of it. But the point is, SOPs are made. That is the reason most of the... Sir, 1 second. Mr. Bharat, I think you should have the minimum decency. Let others speak. So the point is, what is happening? He might have not seen what has happened during the cyclone Monta, how people's lives were saved on ground, how people's lives were saved during various other, incidents across the state for the past 1.5 years. But yet again, the point is taken that SOPs need to be built, and that is what we are doing. I am not here justifying each and everything, Heena. I am here taking responsibility of whatever has happened in my state. Whatever has happened, I am telling that it is unfortunate, and we are trying to assess why it has gone wrong, and we are trying to make sure it doesn't repeat again.
Well, that's what we will also expect, and we will really hope that this actually does not happen again. Of course, we are seeing some action on the ground, but the reality is that once again, because of a stampede, 9 innocent lives have been lost today. The buck really needs to stop somewhere, and we'll of course be tracking this closely ahead as well. And we can really hope that politics does not take away from the main issue here, that we need to ensure that, one, of course, SOPs are framed, and second, they're also implemented so that no more lives are lost. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us on this debate.